Warren Buffett's story begins in the quiet neighborhoods of Omaha, Nebraska, where tree-lined streets and steady routines shape the rhythm of everyday life. He grew up in a modest home filled with warmth, encouragement, and a sense of practicality that defined Midwestern culture. His father, a stockbroker turned congressman, and his mother, a strong and supportive presence, taught Warren the value of being grounded. Nothing in his childhood was extravagant or loud. Everything unfolded gently, teaching him to appreciate simplicity and observe the world with calm attention. From an early age, Warren exhibited a fascination with numbers and patterns. While other children played outside, he often sat with books filled with statistics, charts, and stories of businesses. He wasn't drawn to money for its glamour, but for the logic behind it, the way decisions, time, and discipline shaped outcomes. Even as a boy, Warren saw life as a series of long-term possibilities rather than instant results. This quiet patience became the foundation of one of the most extraordinary investing careers in history. Warren's curiosity didn't stop at reading. He experimented with small business ideas, treating each one like a puzzle. He sold gum door to door, delivered newspapers before sunrise, and even set up tiny ventures like pinball machines in barbershops. He studied the flow of coins, the movement of customers, and the rhythm of small profits accumulating over time. These early experiences taught him that success didn't require speed, only consistency. Warren was learning, without even realizing it, the power of compounding. At school, Warren wasn't the most outgoing student. He was shy, quiet, and deeply observant. But teachers and classmates noticed something unique about him, the way he analyzed situations thoughtfully before speaking. He had a calm mind that preferred understanding over reacting. While others chased trends or tried to impress, Warren stayed focused on what made sense to him. This ability to stay centered, even at a young age, set him apart in ways that would become increasingly clear as he grew older. As a teenager, Warren discovered the stock market through trips to his father's brokerage office. The ticking boards, the flow of information, and the way companies lived and breathed through numbers fascinated him. He bought his first stock at age 11, and though the experience taught him harsh lessons about patience and fear, it strengthened his long-term mindset. Warren realized that emotions often hurt investors more than mistakes. From that point on, he decided he would never let panic guide his decisions. During these formative years, Warren also developed a strong love for reading, a habit that would follow him throughout his life. He devoured books about business, psychology, and strategy, filling his mind with knowledge that stretched far beyond his surroundings. He didn't study to impress anyone. He studied because he loved learning. The quiet hours spent with books helped him build a deep inner world, one shaped by logic, humility, and curiosity. By the time Warren approached adulthood, he had already formed the core values that would guide him forever: patience, discipline, and an unwavering belief in long-term thinking. He didn't yet know how these traits would shape his future, nor did he chase fame or fortune. Instead, he moved through life with calm intention, trusting that steady effort would carry him forward. His journey was just beginning, but its foundation was already strong. As Warren prepared for college, he carried with him a simple understanding that the world rewarded those who were willing to wait, observe, and think deeply. He never felt the need to be the loudest in the room. He believed that clarity and consistency would always outlast noise. And so, with quiet confidence, he stepped into the next chapter of his life, one that would turn a thoughtful boy from Omaha into one of the greatest financial minds the world has ever known. As Warren entered college, he carried the same quiet curiosity that guided him through childhood. He first attended the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, but he quickly realized that the environment didn't align with his calm, analytical nature. The classes felt too theoretical, too focused on appearances rather than principles. Warren preferred real-world understanding over academic prestige. After 2 years, he returned to Nebraska, trusting his own instincts instead of chasing the expected path. Back home, Warren continued studying economics with a deeper sense of intention. He read constantly, filling journals with observations about companies, human behavior, and long-term outcomes. During this time, he developed a clearer view of what he wanted, a life guided by reason, not emotion. Warren wasn't searching for shortcuts or secrets. He was searching for timeless principles, the kind that didn't change with the market's mood. Quietly, he refined the foundation of the investor he would become. After graduating, Warren applied to Harvard Business School, believing it would open the door to deeper financial knowledge. But the school rejected him. For many people, this would have been devastating. For Warren, it became a turning point. Instead of feeling defeated, he looked for alternatives, and that search led him to the man who would change his life, Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham, known as the father of value investing, taught principles based on patience, discipline, and logic. His ideas mirrored Warren's natural way of thinking. Warren applied to Columbia Business School specifically because Graham taught there, and he was accepted. It wasn't prestige that excited Warren, it was the chance to learn from someone whose philosophy felt like home. Meeting Graham was like discovering a language he had always spoken without knowing it existed. At Columbia, Warren absorbed Graham's lessons with an intensity that surprised even his professors. He studied balance sheets, annual reports, and company histories, learning to look beyond price and toward intrinsic value. Graham taught that markets are driven by emotion, but successful investing requires calm independence. These ideas resonated deeply with Warren. He began to understand that the real challenge wasn't intelligence, it was temperament. Success belonged to those who remained steady when others panicked. After graduating, Warren desperately wanted to work for Graham. He wrote letters, asked for interviews, and expressed his admiration, but Graham initially declined. Warren didn't give up. He returned to Omaha, began selling securities, and quietly practiced what he had learned. His small investments grew slowly but steadily. His calm patience began paying off. Then, without warning, Graham invited him to join his firm, a moment Warren would remember for the rest of his life. Working for Graham was everything Warren hoped for. He spent his days analyzing companies, reading endlessly, and applying the discipline he had learned. But he also saw something important. Graham's style relied heavily on buying struggling businesses at cheap prices. Warren admired the philosophy, but he felt something was missing. He wanted to invest not just in undervalued companies, but in exceptional ones, businesses with strong leaders, loyal customers, and long-term potential. This shift in thinking would later become Buffett's signature approach. When Graham eventually retired and closed his firm, Warren returned to Omaha with a renewed sense of direction. He wasn't interested in Wall Street's noise or fast-moving markets. He wanted to invest calmly, surrounded by the simplicity of home. He began forming small partnerships, convincing friends and family to trust his patient, disciplined strategy. He didn't promise quick returns, he promised rationality, integrity, and long-term growth. These partnerships became the seed of something far greater. Warren approached each investment with the same quiet mindset he carried as a child. Study deeply, think independently, and ignore unnecessary distractions. He wasn't driven by wealth, he was driven by clarity. By the late 1950s, Warren was earning a reputation as a thoughtful investor with remarkable consistency. And though no one knew it yet, he was laying the groundwork for the empire that would eventually become Berkshire Hathaway. As Warren's partnerships grew, so did his confidence in the calm approach to life and business he had cultivated for decades. He understood that success wasn't a moment, it was a process, a slow, steady journey built on patience, humility, and deep understanding. The world was changing around him, but Warren's philosophy remained steady. He was ready for the next chapter, one that would define not just his career, but the world of investing itself. As Warren's partnerships continued to grow, he came across a struggling textile company in New England called Berkshire Hathaway. It was not a glamorous business, nor was it particularly profitable. But Warren saw something deeper, an opportunity to transform a declining operation into a long-term investment tool. At first, he tried to help the company improve its operations, but the textile industry was slowly collapsing. Warren eventually realized that Berkshire's true value wasn't in its mills, but in its potential to become something entirely different. With calm determination, Warren began shifting Berkshire away from textiles and toward investing in companies he admired. He believed in buying businesses with strong fundamentals, honest leadership, and lasting purpose, qualities that could endure for decades. Instead of chasing trends or reacting to the market's mood, Warren looked for quiet strength. He wasn't interested in quick gains. He wanted businesses that could compound value slowly and steadily, just like his own life philosophy. During this time, Warren met Charlie Munger, the man who would become his closest friend and intellectual partner. Charlie challenged Warren to look beyond cheap companies and instead focus on great businesses at fair prices. Their partnership was built on deep respect, sharp logic, and a shared belief in rationality. Together they developed an investment style defined by patience and simplicity. Charlie often said that the best decisions came from avoiding stupidity rather than chasing brilliance. Under Warren and Charlie's guidance, Berkshire Hathaway evolved into a holding company with investments in insurance, energy, railroads, consumer goods, and countless other industries. Warren focused on businesses that produced consistent cash flow and had leaders he trusted. He often said he wanted to buy companies so strong that even an idiot could run them, because someday one might. This philosophy emphasized durability over excitement and character over charisma. Berkshire became a collection of businesses built on resilience and integrity. One of Warren's greatest strengths was his ability to stay calm when others panicked. During market crashes, when fear spread quickly and investors rushed to sell, Warren remained steady. He believed that emotions were the enemy of rational decisions. While others acted out of anxiety, Warren waited, watched, and made thoughtful moves. His famous advice, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful," reflected his deep understanding of human behavior. Warren's discipline extended to the companies he bought outright. He didn't interfere with their day-to-day operations or impose strict rules. Instead, he trusted the people running them. He believed that good managers didn't need constant oversight. They needed freedom to lead. This hands-off approach earned him admiration from leaders across industries. Berkshire became a place where strong companies could thrive without pressure, driven by long-term thinking rather than quarterly expectations. Despite Berkshire's success, Warren maintained a modest lifestyle. He continued living in the same Omaha home he purchased decades earlier, drove simple cars, and kept his routines grounded. He saw wealth not as a symbol of status, but as a tool for building opportunities. His humility became a part of his identity. In a world often shaped by competition and noise, Warren's quiet approach made him stand out. As Berkshire grew, Warren began emphasizing the importance of reading, learning, and staying curious. He spent hours each day studying annual reports, newspapers, and books, believing that knowledge compounded just like investments. He encouraged others to think independently, avoid unnecessary complexity, and remain patient. Warren often said that the most important investment one could make was in oneself, a principle he lived every day. By this stage in his journey, Warren Buffett had become more than an investor. He had become a symbol of long-term wisdom. His calm, deliberate approach showed that enduring success didn't come from speed or luck. It came from clarity, discipline, and staying true to one's principles. And yet, despite everything he had achieved, Warren continued to lead with the humility of someone who still felt he had more to learn. As Berkshire Hathaway entered its most influential decades, Warren's philosophy remained unchanged. He moved through life with steady intention, guided by the same quiet values that shaped him from childhood. The world around him evolved rapidly, but Warren remained grounded, patient, thoughtful, and deeply committed to the idea that simple decisions, applied consistently, could build extraordinary results. And as he prepared for the next chapter, he carried with him the same calm confidence that had defined his entire life. As Warren Buffett entered the later decades of his life, his philosophy became even clearer. True wealth wasn't measured by money, but by time, relationships, and peace of mind. Despite managing one of the world's largest companies, Warren maintained a rhythm that felt almost slow compared to the pace of modern business. He still spent most of his day reading, thinking, and reflecting, an unusual approach in a world obsessed with speed. But for Warren, clarity came from quiet. He believed the best decisions were made when the mind was calm. Warren often reminded people that investing was not about predicting the future, but about understanding the present with honesty. He encouraged others to focus on businesses that made sense, leaders who acted with integrity, and strategies that endured over time. His approach wasn't flashy or complicated, it was grounded in common sense and discipline. Warren knew that complexity often disguised uncertainty. He preferred simplicity, patience, and the kind of wisdom that came from decades of thoughtful observation. Outside of business, Warren became increasingly devoted to philanthropy. In 2006, he announced that he would give away the vast majority of his fortune, choosing to support causes that improved health, education, and global well-being. This decision wasn't made for recognition or praise. Warren believed deeply that luck played a significant role in his success, and he felt a responsibility to give others opportunities that life had given him. His generosity became a reflection of his worldview, that humanity mattered more than wealth. The partnership between Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger also became a legendary symbol of intellectual friendship. Their conversations were filled with humor, logic, and lifelong learning. Charlie challenged Warren to think deeply, avoid emotional bias, and pursue wisdom with humility. Warren often said that Charlie made him a better thinker and a better person. Together, they demonstrated that great success could be achieved without ego, conflict, or speed, just clarity, respect, and rationality. As the world entered the digital age, Warren stayed consistent in his approach. He knew he didn't need to understand every new technology in detail. What mattered was understanding human behavior, incentives, and long-term value. He taught investors to stay calm in chaos, to avoid the noise of speculation, and to invest with intention. Warren's voice became a stabilizing presence during moments of uncertainty, reminding people that patience outlasts panic. In his personal life, Warren remained grounded in the routines that shaped him since childhood. He visited the same local restaurants, drove through the same quiet streets of Omaha, and kept his daily habits simple. These routines weren't about comfort. They were about staying connected to the values that made him who he was. Warren understood that success could easily distort one's perspective, and he guarded against it by embracing humility in every aspect of his life. Over time, Warren's annual letters to shareholders became more than financial updates. They became teachings. Each letter carried lessons about life, leadership, and decision-making, written with honesty and clarity. People around the world read them not just for investment advice, but for wisdom. Warren didn't preach or lecture. He simply shared what he learned from a lifetime of thinking deeply and acting deliberately. As Warren reflected on his journey, he often spoke about the power of compounding, not just in money, but in character. Small habits, practiced consistently, shape a person's life. Small decisions repeated over years create extraordinary outcomes. Warren's story became a reminder that greatness doesn't require speed, talent, or luck. It requires patience, discipline, empathy, and the courage to stay true to your principles, even when the world tries to distract you. And so, as this documentary comes to a close, let Warren Buffett's journey remind you that calmness is a strength, that slow, steady actions can build remarkable futures, that clarity grows in quiet moments, and that your life, no matter where you are right now, can be shaped one thoughtful decision at a time. Take a gentle breath, let the noise outside fade, trust that patience will guide you toward your own version of success, grounded in purpose and peace. Good night.